Our correspondent Meghna Dev is joining us from Rio de Janeiro. Meghna, in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address, he spoke about how the Global South is at the receiving end of double standards and token gestures. And he spoke about how this applies to climate finance, to sustainable development, to technology access, to distribution of resources or security-related issues. Is patience now running thin among all the Global South countries, all represented there in BRICS? And do you think that the continuing focus on this issue for the need for representation of Global South is going to get momentum with such a vociferous shaming really of the Western dominated architecture?
Well, Munmun, absolutely yes. When you actually see the intervention by President Lula and the statement that he has made, he has clearly spoken in very strong words about how there needs to be transformation of the UN. How the countries are going to war without even there's been no talk with the UNSC. There's been invasion of territories. Everything's just happening under the gaze of the UN, but the UN is not able to do anything about it clearly. So this is something that we can make out of the statement that he has made. And what we also do see clearly, talking about token gestures, obviously Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke about how there's been no representation from the Global South on the issues that are being discussed about the Global South. Now, while having said that, President Lula also said that not everything about the UN has been in a sense that it has not been able to do anything. Obviously, the kind of role that that the UN had played in the ban of the use of biological and chemical weapons is an example of what commitment to actual multilateralism can achieve. And obviously, it did play a central role in the decolonization process. But to now make it more legitimate, it clearly, make the UN more legitimate, representative, and effective, democratic. It is important to include new members, new permanent members from Asia, Latin America, Africa, and the Caribbean. So this is more in what you also said is this is more in the matter of justice. This is also the way how UN can ensure its survival. So very clearly, in very strong words, he did say that when we, for UN to survive, it is now important to include permanent members. And Munmun, as you asked, it is exactly this is what has been voiced out of his intervention, that now it clearly shows that the Global South is not going to be that patient with its representation, in the decision-making processes, be it important aspects of climate financing, be it in developmental initiatives, be it other initiatives of the growth and development. What President Lula also said, that it is easier to invest in war than to invest in developmental cooperation, development, and growth. So clearly, he's been saying, he's been voicing what the Global South priorities are when we are talking about technological advancements, and many things for that matter. So, what are the concerns? The concerns are equitable, just, balanced, and democratic multipolar world order. So now what are the challenges? The challenges, obviously, deepening geopolitical tensions, strategic competition, we can say economic downturns as well, besides also technological challenges and migratory crisis. So these are the challenges, obviously, that the Global South is facing, but it also it is important to have this multipolar world order in terms to ensure that there is a democratic and balanced global order. So obviously, having said all of it, the ongoing conflicts, President Lula also highlighted the ongoing conflicts, where he clearly said, what we can make out, he's been talking about the polarized and fragmented world order because of the ongoing conflicts, the kind of investments that are going into military, the kind of spending that is happening for military. That clearly shows that it's not that there are no funds, but it's that the funds are being allocated for military and arms and ammunition, but not for developmental initiatives. So this is something that clearly has been voiced out, and it now shows that the global south is not going to keep that much patience. It's going to voice out in very clear and strong words that it demands this the space in global decision making on international multilateral fora, and demands as much presence and as much participation on fora, because we are talking about 2/3 of the global population. We are talking about a huge GDP. We are talking about a huge economy and trade. So this is, global south is something that clearly cannot be ignored. But having said that, today's intervention clearly has set the tone and will be very evident in this time's outcomes for the leaders' declaration that will come out from Rio de Janeiro. Clearly, this is going to be something very essential, very important. And it is going. People are going to look out for the outcomes that will come.
Yes, so coming on that, we know that President Lula of Brazil, the chair of the 17th BRICS Summit, did speak on the issue of terrorism, and he condemned the attacks in Kashmir, which is the Pahalgam terror attack. So can we expect not just counter-terrorism to be mentioned in the joint declaration, but also a condemnation of the Pahalgam terror attack, where innocent civilians were targeted on the basis of religion, and also cross-border terrorism?
So, well, clearly, as I was speaking to you earlier also, Munmun, that the foreign affairs meeting of the BRICS did also, the chair summary also included the condemnation on the Pahalgam terror attack, clearly talking about safe havens, talking about combating terrorism, talking about how it is important to reject double standards of double standards in combating terrorism. So there has to be clear objective when we are talking about combating terrorism. We are talking about stopping terror financing. We are talking about how these safe havens have to be traced, tracked, and action taken against them. We are also talking about how these UN proscribed terrorists cannot roam freely. The action has also to be taken against them. So this is all what the BRICS ministers, the BRICS for that matter, has been talking about. And clearly today, President Lula said the ideology of hate cannot be associated with any religion or nationality. And Brazil also talked about how absolutely nothing justifies terrorist actions. So clearly, this is something that India has been very strongly putting out, across the globe when this Pahalgam terror attack happened, that now the reaction is going to be stronger to any terrorist attack that takes place. Second, there has to be a strong, counter-terrorism, we can say a consensus across the globe for, such terrorist actions. There has to be more crackdown on terror financing. There needs to be action against people who transport terrorism across borders. So clearly, India has been voicing out this when we saw a number of delegations going across different countries and putting out a very strong message that India, in the action that India has taken against terrorism. And I believe after the kind of chair summary that we saw during the foreign ministers meeting, and the kind of, clear mention that the chair of the BRICS did about the attacks in Kashmir, very clearly this is going to be something that will have a clear mention in the in the declaration, the leaders' declaration, the outcome of the BRICS. And definitely this is not only after the Kashmir attack, but we have been seeing, now this is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 12th BRICS that he is attending. So he has been attending a number of summits, and we know that time and again Prime Minister Narendra Modi, on not only for the BRICS but also on multilateral forum has spoken about cross-border terrorism, has spoken about importance
Right.
of taking action against terror financing and combating terrorism. So this is something which will have an importance on today's on the outcome of the BRICS summit.
We'll leave it at that. Meghna Dev reporting from Rio de Janeiro on the 17th BRICS summit. Time for us to take a breather. Coming up after that, we will have an expert take on the significance of the 17th edition of the BRICS summit, issues that have been taken up so far, and India's expectations from the